cause. In the end, why do we do this? In the beginning, we might do it out of curiosity, out of desperation, out of wanting to get high in some way. Who knows, okay? Maybe relief of suffering, maybe find out who we really are. These are all have their validity. So in the beginning, there could be many causes for us to take on this practice. But the final cause, the arete, when you get right down to it, what is it going to be about? This is my favorite and the last. Essentially, the Chinese version of Santa Claus. Roly-poly guy with a bag full of goodies, going into the marketplace, handing them out to anyone who wants to take them. Very ordinary, okay? The kind of person you wouldn't hesitate to talk to. The kind of person you might not think even was in any way special, unless you knew what to look for. This is actually a historical character, someone that existed in Chinese history. He was known as the cloth bag monk. And that's essentially what he was, a bag man, a street person. In the capital of China, during the Tang Dynasty in Chang'an, there was this well-known sort of street person that was a kind of Buddhist monk. But all he did was play with children all day and just hang out in the marketplace and schmooze with people. And everybody knew him, and he was just sort of this like friendly guy and, you know, easy to get along with. You'd never really think there was anything all that special. And he was always just sort of around for people. Particularly like to give out gifts to children, things like that. And at night he used to sleep in the snow. That should have been a giveaway right there, that there was something a little unusual about his physiology that may have been the result of something. He was known to the citizens of Chang'an, and they called him the Bu Dai Heshang. Bu means cloth, Dai means bag, and Heshang means a monk, the cloth bag monk, because he carried around these gifts to give to people. The emperor of China at that time was a Buddhist and a meditator who had his own imperial preceptor, his own sort of master, right, who would have been like the most authoritative monk in China of the time. They call that the Guoshi. That's the teacher of the emperor. So one morning the Guoshi said, "Your Majesty, I don't know if you're aware or not, but the most enlightened subject in your kingdom died this morning." And the emperor said, "Who?" And the imperial master said, "The cloth bag monk." The emperor couldn't believe it, because it was like, that was the most enlightened person in my kingdom, because everybody just took him for granted. So this becomes a sort of ideal for what an enlightened person should be like. Very ordinary, very easily approachable, just they're there for you, nothing all that special, no, not in the Indic formulation. An enlightened being is a god, is an archetype. But in the Chinese formulation, the enlightened being is a sort of pudgy, easily approach guy hanging out in the streets, available to people, but with these gifts to give. So this is called, this last picture is called entering the marketplace with hand outstretched. We may start this path for various reasons, but if we stay on it, in the end, this is where we end up. We end up with what's called the Dao Xin in Chinese, the bodhicitta, the intense call to be of service to our fellow beings in one way or another. It's an automatic consequence of having understood the nature of consciousness, the nature of my mind, which is the nature of nature, the nature of the source. It's an automatic consequence of knowing that your source is everyone's source. But knowing that for real, not in a sort of feel-good belief kind of way, but in a very tangible way, moment by moment, really inescapable in your moment-by-moment perceptions of things. We're going to be going into the marketplace when we leave here, metaphorically. We have a bag full of goodies, and we can go with hand outstretched. Not that we're going to lay any trips on anybody, but you have a gift to give, the gift of the effects of your practice. You may never speak about it explicitly, but your pores will. The pores of your skin, that's teaching. That's going into the marketplace, giving a gift to people. If somebody asks you what you did and you're capable of giving a reasonable, logical, coherent description of this practice, you're giving a gift to someone. And some of you already, and many of you eventually, will discover that you'll end up actually teaching, maybe one or two people or maybe more people. You may have heard the cliche, when the student's ready, the teacher appears. Well, I don't know about that, but I can definitely tell you that when the teacher's ready, the students appear. And you may notice that happening to you. Do not be alarmed. And understand that in the end, this is the final goal of this practice.